So I just wanted to showcase this contraption that I made and that I also uploaded to the Steam Workshop. I'll have a link for that in the description. It's an advanced fusion missile, and I'm just gonna first show you two ways to launch it, and then I'll talk about like some flaws after that. So for the two first ways to launch this, the first one is auto launch that I want to show you because that's probably what most people will do because it's the easiest. This works best in the humongous map, by the way. There's enough space for that here, so. To auto launch, I'll just press one of these two radios. The right radio makes it launch to the right. The left radio makes it launch to the left. The auto launch doesn't make it go very far, but I mean you could try to mess around with these lag boxes to try and make it go further. I can't even remember which of these makes it go further. My brain is already broken from making it, so I'll press the right one for like demonstration, and as soon as I do, there will be a lot of noise, so I'll zoom out so you can still hear me. So I'll do, actually I could just turn down the volume. I think that might be better. So press this right one, and the generator will start to turn on, and when it's turned on enough, it will launch. Yeah. So there you go. Now it's launched. It will activate the gyro as it's done right now, so it'll go straight forward. Then it'll turn on off the engines, not on. Like that. This detector will detect the ground and release these 4 bombs. There you go. And it will activate a dampener at the back so that the bombs get a chance to hit the ground. It's usually only these two. And then the bomb goes off. Now, if you want the manual launch, which I prefer personally because you have a lot more control, it's really easy. First, I gotta talk about how this is wired up real quick. There's a safety feature. You cannot press R, which is the launch button for these 3 engines. You cannot press it unless the bomb itself is armed, the detection system up here is armed, and the detection system is turned on. You cannot launch it unless all of those 3 are active. So let's start by activating those. To arm the bomb here, you press Y. Now these shock detectors will be active, so as soon as they hit something, it'll explode. We will arm the detector by pressing H. And now I will activate the detector by pressing B, and notice how this gate suddenly turns on. There you go. So when it turns on the detector, it turns on this generator, which gives power to this. Now, how the system works for the safety, which you can't press R unless all 3 are active, is if I turn off B, you see I can't press R because this gate is not active. How I check for that all these 3 are active is this gate, and how I do that is I have these activation toggles hooked up to Y, H, and B, so that if all 3 are active, they all go into this activation transformer. It transforms into electricity. The more activation signals that are going into this thing, the more power it outputs. So I found the right amount and just put it here. So when all 3 are active, it's the right power amount and it can go through. Now if I press R, it will launch. But you need to do some things before you launch. For example, if you want to launch to the right, you'll press M. That activates this piston, so there comes a unstable weight on the right side. And for the left, it's N, so that, yeah, the same thing happens just on the left side. I want to launch to the right, because, I don't know, I just want to launch to the right. So here we go, to the right, press R, and when I do, it'll launch to the right. When I think that it has tilted enough to the right that I don't want it to tilt anymore, I'll press P. This activates the gyro. I'll press P now because I think it's tilted enough. I wouldn't recommend it tilting more than this because its thrust to weight ratio is not very good, unfortunately. So now it'll just coast until I decide that I don't want it to coast anymore. If you want, you can press M or N, whichever one you picked at the start. That'll just retract the piston because we don't need it anymore because the gyro is active. It doesn't really matter, but because I just want to do it, I'll just do it. Also just for demonstration's sake, I guess. So let's say, okay, I think it's flown enough now. To deactivate it, will press P and R. This will deactivate the engines and the gyro. So now it'll just coast, and these 4 bombs out here will just detach automatically. I guess you could hook that up to some sort of manual thing if you want. I mean, if you want to customize it to do that, you can. There you go. These go out. So now it'll just coast down. Typically, if you do it the manual way, these bombs will not hit the ground. But yeah, I mean, can't really do much about that, can you? So, yeah. Now I'll talk about the flaws that I didn't fix. But if you want, you can fix them yourself, I guess. So, the flaw number 1 I want to talk about is there's a lot of unnecessary weight here. Which means, for example, if you take this transformer up here, this is not needed. It does absolutely nothing. It's just to counterweight this transformer over here. There's a lot of unnecessary weight. I mean, there's probably a way you could fix that, but I didn't because I thought it would be too time consuming. Second flaw is there's wings on these bombs. These need to be on the bombs because if they're not, they won't like really detach from it. They'll just like tuck into the side with it and maybe even explode it in the air. So these wings make sure that when they release, it flies out. Why that's a flaw is because then the bombs will sometimes glide too far and not reach the ground before this does. Next flaw is that these engines produce a lot of heat. So sometimes some of this stuff does break. For example, I've had the cathode lights pop a lot of times. I've had these key triggers break a lot of times. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Next flaw is it's very, very, very unstable. All these destructible bending struts and all these activation signals, as you can imagine, doesn't really say very glitch friendly. Many times, I'd say like maybe 10% or 25% of the time, it explodes before it reaches the ground, or sometimes even before it like gets off the ground. Another flaw is it's made out of purely destructible struts because I didn't want to have any fixed struts. I was like, oh, let's do a challenge, just not to have any fixed struts. I'll just showcase real quick. This is very, very, very susceptible to breakages. You see, I can like barely move it and completely just falls apart. So next flaw, I'll actually showcase right now. You have to place it like as close to the ground as you can, like this. You cannot place it too much under or over the ground because it's made of destructible struts. So yeah, you gotta keep an eye out for that. So yeah, this is not a flaw. I'll just note it. There are no linked parts. There are no resized parts, which means none of this is like resized or linked. Which I mean, I guess that makes it kind of cool. There might have been some background noise. My computer is kind of noisy, and my English is not perfect. I don't come from America. Yeah, that's just, I just wanted to showcase this. I've uploaded to the Steam workshop. I'll leave a link for it in the description. So yeah, that was basically it. Sorry for the kind of times weird accent, but yeah, I just wanted to show this. I'll see you.